I've recently introduced some friends to TF2, and to get to the issue at hand as fast as possible, it was the most frustrating introduction I've ever had to do for any video game I play, and for me, highlighted just how broken and downright stupid the new player experience is nowadays. How this game has managed to make players stay in current year just utterly confounds me. So let's start. Let's introduce our new friend to this wonderful game. Okay, so before you hit play, you're gonna wanna get into the settings and change your FOV and enable hate sounds and make sure you're... Yeah, it has been no mystery that the default settings of TF2 is one of the first major hurdles, and has been for as long as I've played it. There have been multiple videos talking about this point alone. The default settings exclude some major quality of life settings that should just be on by default. Not gonna linger on this one too much, but making your friend go through two extremely unintuitive settings menus for the first half hour is just really annoying. In no other game have I had so much of a process to make the game playable for someone before. And that's not even including interp commands and the such that will help the game feel way more responsive. Teaching someone who's never used the dev console in a Source game before, if that's not the embodiment of the word unintuitive itself, then I do not know what is. And once you're done with that, it's time to queue for a game. Eventually. Yeah, okay, there we go. Alright, friend, pick your class and let's... Oh, never mind, we'll just load into the next map. Oh, everyone left. Guess we'll have to start a new search. I genuinely cannot recommend that any new player touches casual as their first experience. I don't want my friend to go through an already annoying introduction process and then queue into the stupidest, dumbest, most idiotic way of playing TF2. Like, what am I supposed to say? Oh yeah, this is just how it is. No, they're never gonna touch TF2 again. I had to recommend them to find a community server that was mostly vanilla TF2. Luckily, we managed to stumble upon one that was in the region completely by accident. Since we were from different regions, I wanted to find a place where they could play with low ping. In the end, I wasn't even the one who found it. And prior to that, they just play with high ping on the server I usually go to. And this isn't a perfect solution either. There are many other factors that come with community servers. Things like a noticeably higher skill level, playing with the same people over and over, and trigger-happy admins. Of course, these differences from Valve servers can be spun as positives as well, but it's still a different experience that might not be everyone's ideal. But those nitpicks compared with the casual system, what? Okay, new player aside, how is this friendly to anyone? New player or old? How is this sustainable? Alright, we got a game. Here, I'll go to the other team so I can demonstrate this... Oh yeah, I can't switch team. Well, guess they'll have to figure shit out themselves. If only this fucking setting existed. Coming soon. Yeah, I guess soon, according to Valve, means a whole godforsaken decade. I'm genuinely proud of anyone that managed to stay playing TF2 after the god-awful introduction the game gives them. And the only one who can mitigate issues with it is someone like me or my friend Kimon, who's been playing this game for thousands of hours, who could usher them in. I had to warn them multiple times that getting into TF2 is the most unwelcoming and stupid experience with a video game they'll have. TF2 has never been an easy game to grasp as a new player, but I would like to point my fingers towards a specific update that made the issue way worse. The addition of casual mode, in retrospect, just looks like the most spectacular failure to turn a fun shooter into a competitive esport. TF2 and esport just sounds like two things that should not be put together. It could work in niche rule sets, but not standard 12v12 that the game was balanced around. It completely uprooted how the game was being treated going forward, with a completely backwards view on what TF2 the game was. It'd be like Nintendo suddenly deciding that Mario Party is now a competitive esport, and now you're gonna be put into ranked online lobbies instead of just playing with your friends on a couch. I started in 2014. I had a brief moment of experiencing the quick play system, and then it was just ripped away from me in favor of this. And maybe it would have worked. Maybe having some completely different version of matchmaking would have worked. Maybe if the game had tens of thousands of more active daily players, but it didn't. And it definitely doesn't today. The only way I interact with the matchmaking system nowadays is doing the Halloween contracts and checking out the new maps a bit, and then never touching it again. And this to me is the most egregious reason why the game is losing players and turning people away. Unless you know someone who can introduce you, you are going to have a terrible experience getting to grips with this game. My aforementioned friend Kimon I always play TF2 with would likely never have continued playing had he not started playing just a little more than a year before doom fell upon us all. Anyway, abolishing the matchmaking system aside, I want to talk about some things I believe should be added, because the new player experience doesn't just end at the broken matchmaker, because our friend is now interested to keep playing, and they've spotted that we're using a different arsenal than them, so they ask the obvious question: how do I get that weapon? Okay, genuinely think about this for a second. Without using trading bot sites, and without spending money, how do you obtain the weapons in-game? You can't. Sure, you have the random drop system and a handful of the items being achievement items, but what if our friend wants to play with the Rescue Ranger, a very important tool for defensive engineering? They would just have to wait until the random drop system blesses them with the correct item that they wanted. Sure, you can craft them, but that means they'll have to sacrifice dozens of weapons they have already obtained just to get one copy of the item that they want. And it's not like it's some custom skin or cosmetic that doesn't matter. No, it's an essential part of a class's toolset, and you're actively being punished for not having it. And the most frustrating part of it all is that Valve already figured out the perfect way of having the player obtain weapons. They just never bothered expanding on it at all. I present the Pyroland contract we got in the Jungle Inferno update. It was the perfect system for obtaining the new weapons we got in that update. The way it worked was that you'd activate the contract, get a trial version of the item, and once you complete it, you obtain that item. It was perfect because not only did it give you the item that you wanted to play with, but it also taught you how to use it, instead of the wall of text that doesn't even explain properly what the weapon actually does. I thought, in my blissfully ignorant, promised heavy update 2018 mind, that this would be expanded upon further for all weapons. But that never happened. The best I can do nowadays is rummage through my own backpack and give the duplicates I don't want to my friends. Holy shit, Kim, please craft some scrap. I could go on, because there are many smaller items that just make the introduction even more of a slog, but I want to keep the focus on these big three, because I believe that they are the ones shooting new players in the leg and telling them to leave, whereas this other stuff is more akin to the splintery wood floor they'll have to drag themselves across after being shot by these three. I'm fully aware that these issues are very unlikely to ever be touched, but I still want to hold on to the dust particle of hope that maybe Valve caves into the players' demands, seeing as they have done so in the past. I'm just one small voice in the sea of internet noise, but saying something is better than doing nothing. At least in this case, even if nothing happens, I can rest easy knowing that at least I tried to voice my concerns over this issue, instead of sitting silently on my ass waiting for something that was never gonna happen. Overall, how was your introduction to TF2?
I mean, it was a long time ago when I started playing, so it's hard to remember. What I do remember is that it was hard getting hooked on the game, with the thought of just clicking the find button and then just get thrown into a game. You don't know anything. There's no tutorial to give you any hint of what game mode you're in or what map you're playing, give you an overall look of how the map looks, and sometimes it's hard to navigate.
I found the game and some mechanics kind of buggy or just outright not working. Then you had the bot problem that made the game completely unplayable, and I would go several days without playing because of that. You've got the leveling and tier system with the casual badge, which was, and still is, completely useless. And when I wanted to obtain weapons, I couldn't help but feel skeptical about third-party item trading, and I wouldn't have known it was even a thing until I was shown it. I also wish that auto-balance functioned properly. Getting rolled and knowing there's absolutely nothing you can do about it is just plain boring and doesn't make the game fun.
I think the introduction was okay, primarily because I started TF2 because I saw you and Kim doing rocket jumping, which looked pretty fun for me because I like to do CSGO surfing previously. And so that was the main thing that intrigued me, was to go and try rocket jumping. But when it came to playing actual games, it was always a 50-50 between either being fun or boring.
What about your introduction to TF2 was the most frustrating?
I'd say the most frustrating part was definitely the difference between community servers and casual. When I played community servers, I would more often than not feel like pretty outmatched. Like everyone was a lot better than me, and it felt kind of difficult to play. Like I like playing Spy, and it felt kind of difficult to play Spy when everybody kind of already knew how to deal with the Spy really easily, I guess. But I guess it's just also my skill. But then there'd be times where we played casual, and the game would be really fun. I'd be really enjoying it, and then at the end of the match, like more than half of the server just dips, and then we have to wait ages just to get into another game that more than likely isn't going to be as fun as the last.
Okay, Nilly, I remember you telling me that you played TF2 before. Around what time did you play TF2 the most?
2015 to 2017.
How would you compare TF2 now to then?
It feels pretty dreadful to play, and this could be a skill issue on my part and that people may have gotten better over the years. But playing against people now feels pretty dreadful, and now having to deal with longer queue times and worry about skill-based matchmaking, which makes no sense. It feels horrid winning as a class in one map versus another map, which my class could be terrible on, and that class just feels obsolete if I want to play.
What about the current matchmaking system do you think is the most frustrating?
Queue times. Easily. Queue times always annoy me, and getting into a match with better players than me always makes me demotivated to play and want to alt F4 if I'm playing solo. Not only that, is playing with friends is basically impossible because the matchmaking system won't drag them in even if a person is already disconnected. That slot will just stay empty either the entire match, or they'll get lucky after like 30 minutes to get in. But the game will probably already be over by that time.
Okay, Kim. I remember back when you started playing TF2 that you were quite averse to actually playing it. I was nagging the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would have continued playing had you started like a year later after Meet Your Match?
Probably not.
What's your overall opinion on the current matchmaking system?
It's ass.
So, you're someone who stopped playing TF2 after having been introduced to it. Why did you stop?
As a non-experienced player, dealing with experienced players is very difficult to just jump right in. If Kimon's on the other team, he's more experienced than me, so then he would easily kill me and pick me off. But that would be for like any other person that can actually like be higher level or more experienced than me, and then just it's not fun for new players to get picked off very easily.
You just have a personal vendetta against Kim.
Mostly, yes. I'm scared of Kim being on the enemy team and killing me outright consistently. So yes, PTSD from Kim.
Do you think you could have gotten into TF2 on your own?
No. I had the privilege of having you as a teacher to show me what is sort of good and what I could do and the settings I had to go through. But if I just picked up TF2 on my own, I do not think I would have gotten hooked on it at all. It would have been so confusing.
Yes, I probably would have, but I would not have played most of the classes.
Absolutely not. Like I stated earlier, I only started playing because I saw you doing rocket jumping, and I didn't even know that it existed previously until I saw you doing it. I do remember like quite a few years ago trying to get into TF2, and I don't remember why, but I never even made it past the main menu, so I basically gave up immediately. So without your help, I probably never would have touched it.
Absolutely not. It is actually not fun for me to queue solo with the current matchmaking system. I am bound to find people who are better than me at all times because of the SBMM system.
Thank you for watching, thanks for your time, and if you want more, here's some stuff on your screen.